Welcome back to Traders Galaxy. Hello, welcome to a video. I thought I can't have these on. I feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to put them on top of my head, even though I still can't see the camera. I don't know why. It just feels like it's more comfortable on my head than it is watching through with the reflection. But I still can't see the camera very well. Yeah, I'm mental. So, you know, that's how it goes when you get old, and you know, you start developing all these weird habits that you feel uncomfortable if your glasses aren't sitting on top of your head, even though you're not looking through them. Yeah, go figure. So I thought I'd just do a few little YouTube segments of me talking about, I've started some about quick tactics. I've started some about what hobby stuff I've been working on. I'm now just looking at this. I want to sort of take a more view from the business side of, not necessarily Traders Galaxy, but looking at the tabletop miniature industry and aspects of it from an entrepreneurial manufacturer, developer side of things. I never really hear much, or don't really see much of that on YouTube, but in all fairness, I just found someone on YouTube that has been going for ages with massive amount of subs, and I've been looking for stuff like that for years and never found it before, and it just somehow popped up my feed. So I'm sure it is out there. I'm sure people have talked about this like before, and yeah, I'm going to try and, I'm naturally a pessimist, so I'm going to try and talk more positively about it. I'll probably, if I go off on a negative Nancy tangent, then I will probably edit it out and steer it back onto the positive course. But we'll see how we go. I think it might be okay. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk about just little, no more than half an hour, discussing different things in the industry. Now, for those that know me, you'll probably already know that I've often said it's a one-man band here. Like Traders Galaxy I actually started off with nothing and built a spin casting machine using internet instructions off of, and I think I talked about this in another video about starting your own war games company, and just how I was so desperate to do something. I was in my early 40s and I felt like it was now or never. I just finished business masters in uni, and it was like now or never, and this is what I was going to do. So looking back, and I was speaking a bit to my wife about this not long ago, is like, I don't know how, like thinking back on some of the things that I achieved back then, like the level of like difficulty with like zero skills, like zero ability and all that sort of stuff. I actually don't know how I even did it. Like there was one thing where I went and bought a second-hand spin casting machine from my foundry that produces my metals, and I picked it up in the back of an Astra. For those overseas, that's like a Vauxhall. In the UK, I think. I don't know. It's like a GM car in the US, I think. I don't even know how I got it in there. The bloody thing weighs a ton. I can't even shift it. But somehow I levered it and did some crazy engineering things that I don't even know how to do, and got this spin cast into the boot of a hatchback, and then drove an hour and a half with the thing. It's made out of cast iron. Drove, you know, an hour and a half with the thing in the back of the hatchback, somehow got it out, and yeah, I don't know. But that's one of the crazy things about this, is that there are times when I just don't know how things worked, and yeah, a lot of the time it's flying by the seat of your pants in the entrepreneurial world, and it's there's just a lot of crazy problems that I find that when I first did my business courses and things like that, I was just like, oh yeah. But actually, business is just quite simple. It's like solving problems constantly. It's just like complete, like solving problems. That's all you're doing all the time. Is that you want to do something, you got a problem to solve. You want to do something else, you got a problem to solve. You got a problem to solve. You got a problem to solve. And it's just continually having, and that's why, really, the most, I think the most valuable attribute for an entrepreneur is having the mental fortitude to keep going. Like, that's why a lot of people say things like, oh, do follow your passion and do what you like. It's not because they actually want you to do what you like. It's because you need to be doing the things that you like in order to help your mental fortitude keep pushing forward when you're solving problems day after day after day after day. And that's really the crux of, like, I've found in the 4 or 5 years I've been doing this, by far the biggest issue is the attacks on your mental positivity or your morale attacks. That's probably the best example, the best description of what I would say. Like, the attacks on morale is pretty massive, like, all the time. Like, and many things can really impact your morale. It could be problems, and it could be like you're already carrying a lot of stuff in your head all the time, and then just one little feather just like falls on top, and you feel like everything's just going to drop out of your hands. And that's what I mean by morale. It's really important to maintain morale in a business, and I find that a good way of doing that is like looking back and just seeing how your journey has already gone. Like, the things that you, like, re-celebrating the problems that you have overcome in the past, boosting your confidence is like, look, I've done that, well, I can do that. And then sometimes it's even a bit of looking at other people and saying, you know what, if they overcome it, then I can overcome it as well. So, and just not in a sense that to try and put anyone else down, but in a sense of like, look, it can be done. Like, it's seeing that it can be done. Therefore, there is a way. Therefore, you can find that way. So, mental fortitude is like really, really important. I will say though that like I said, this is technically a one-man band. But I probably can't say that anymore, I've just decided. Because I now have had people that are almost like permanent employees. They're not officially permanent employees, but I actually do consider them permanent employees. I do feel a great responsibility to them. I would actually consider them my friends. And of course, I mean, my wife and family, my wife pretty much picks up the slack on the stuff because I'm working on the business, and I also have a day job as well. So she picks up a lot of the slack. So essentially, I'm forcing her to also do a second job as well. So yeah, kudos to her for helping me out and being supportive with that. I couldn't do it without a supportive family. Simple as that. And also, like, there's a lot of people that I really need to thank that actually are friends that are just like super supportive and have just helped me like no end over the years. You got people like Aiden and Steve, all the mods of Facebook, both past and present. They do a fantastic job. Mark, who does like the podcast and stuff, Bjorn and Stuart, who are on that. So yeah, like, let's face it, like, I don't think it's possible to ever do anything like this totally alone. Even to the point where the guys that paint up my stuff, like agree to paint up my stuff and stuff on Instagram and stuff like that, like, every little bit helps to get things out there. And like, having worked in a career that deals with a lot of business to business, I always do find that the people who the entrepreneurial people who have their heart and skin in the game. I don't know if overseas has that phrase, skin in the game, means that you've got your money in it, invested in it, and you've got your heart as your passion, and you're trying to build something like greater than yourself. Like whenever those people get help, like the loyalty that gets and the heartfelt thanks is totally genuine. Like I can't thank all of those people enough. I do find the opposite can be true in a large company where people don't have skin in the game, but not in every case. But yeah, I've just found that in my own experience. So like Traders Galaxy would not be, I 100% believe this every single day. It's one of the first things I think of when I wake up, is that Traders Galaxy could not be Traders Galaxy without a great community and all that supportive help from everybody out there. So yeah, I don't know how else that I can express that enough, so people really understand that it comes from the heart. I'm not an expert at all. Like I'm just an ordinary guy who literally started from zero. Like I had, I'd been to uni, but uni doesn't really teach you like real life. And so when I started, I come in with some ideas. I had a lot of ideas from years of working in careers and things like that. So I tried to take every single bit of knowledge that I could. I'm not ashamed to say that there was blood, there was sweat, and there was tears. Genuine tears of just frustration and when my brain just would not work at times. If I had a sort of thought about like what's the most important thing about building a business and stuff like that, I would definitely say people. I know it may sound a little cliche, but like as someone who has like Asperger's, like who's supposed to not really get people, I really have come to understand how important it is that how important people are and getting along with people and having the right people that you're interacting with all the time. Like people can have the power to make your day great or terrible. It's like something that's become increasing. Like I didn't really realize it until I had a business, just how easily people can wake up and decide that they're gonna make someone else's life really good or really bad. It's like something I've become increasingly aware of, in this crazy world, how things are, is that you have a decision that whatever you do and say will affect other people. We're all social creatures, and it makes a massive difference. I've had people, I'm sure, that have had like throwaway nice comments to me or supportive words that have just come at the right time, and like they will probably be embarrassed to think that it actually had the kind of impact that it did have, but it does actually make a massive impact. And it's actually taught me a lot about how I interact just in my daily life, is that you just do not know who you're talking to, what's going on behind people's eyes at the time. And so you just got to be very careful, how you approach things. Not obviously you don't want to get stepped on all the time and things like that. So there's obviously that, right? You don't want to be weak or anything like that. But at the same time, you can still make that choice, like each and every day. moving on to, a few of the things like Traders Galaxy, we've just got some like massive things coming. It's just growing and growing. Like I think I mentioned earlier in this video, just looking back at where Traders Galaxy was 4 years ago. Like, it has moved forward massively in that time. Like where I'm sitting now, there would have been a car parked here. And now the whole place is like converted into a full studio. We would have had like messy casting over there. Now that's in an actual purpose-built shed for it. Yeah, like it's massive. I think there's like, I want to say I've made maybe 1,500 sculpts, give or take, in that time, at least. No, maybe, I don't know, round about that. I mean, they're not all available right now because some have actually been discontinued and moved into classics range or whatever. So yeah, like a lot has happened, and the level of improvement has like I can just see this like massive curve of improvement of things. My skills have improved as well, like designing things. Like when I first designed things like stat cards and stuff like that, I just did not have the knowledge or the ability or the digital assets to use to make stat cards and stuff like that. Now, like the Turbo Plus stat cards are all full art. Yeah, it just looks like a massive improvement on the professional look of the game as we travel more and more to the commercial side of things from the the garage hobby side of things. So that's always like really positive to see. We've just been working like flat strap on the 30mm range. For those that don't know, the Bot War, which is our #1 game, it is like in a 10mm scale. So the humans, it's a weird thing to say, right? Like the humans themselves are only 10mm, whereas the bots, of course, are all like 50. It's an odd game in that sense, in the sense that you can actually play the whole game in 40mm scale if you wanted to, because you just get the bots that are 40mm. And so yeah, but so that's in 10mm scale, and everything's sort of been in 10mm scale. And we have had a couple of ranges I've dabbled in a couple of ranges in the 30mm scale, which is the Rise of Democracy, or ROTD as I call it, and the Heroes of Centaurus range, which has changed names a few times. It's more of a sci-fi sort of range, but those ranges now are expanding. We've almost completed Beat 'em Up, which is like this cool 30mm fighting game reminiscent of the video game fight games of the late 80s, early 90s. The side-scrolling fighting games. I'm sure you could all think of several names of different ones that were your favorites back then. Everybody had a favorite back then of those sort of games. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Just the whole side of like everything's going to be almost identical to how the video game's played. Like you're going to smash like barrels over people and pick up power-ups, and like thugs are going to come out with baseball bats. You knock them down, you steal the baseball bat, and things like that. There's going to be mid-game and end-of-level bosses for it, which is just going to like ramp up the excitement. It's going to be really cool. We start playtesting that soon. Hopefully, the draft rules are almost completed. All the miniature sculpts are all completed for level 1 and some of level 2. So I'm going to release the game in levels, so you will get the levels, and it will play through a little bit like a dungeon crawler, but like a hybrid, like a weird hybrid of a skirmish game and a dungeon crawler. So it's going to be quite interesting. So So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. The miniatures look great, and it's all set in the Bot War universe as well. So it's sort of level 1 to 5 is set in Motor City, in a suburb called Tradersville, where Coils are trying to establish another foothold in the democracy, and there's an executive from the Coils board that's there who's the big boss at the end, and yeah, it's just going to be really, really cool. But also with the 30mm range, we've got the Heroes and Centaurus, so that's actually really ramped up. It was just a side project for a long time till I really wrapped my head around Bot War and everything, and sort of make that all work efficient, as in the production side and all the other things of it going that way. But Heroes and Centaurus is, now that I've created the 30mm core rules system, and games like Beat 'em Up are an expansion to that, Rise of Democracy is an expansion to that, and Heroes of Centaurus will be an expansion to that as well. So you get the core rules, and then you get all these expansions of different worlds and different games that add their own little theme onto each of those core rules. So they each play differently, but the great thing is the stat cards are all interchangeable. So I'm hoping in the fullness of time that people will start making up their own crazy games. Maybe people from characters from the Heroes of Centaurus can go into Beat 'em Up for a bit if people want to make up that sort of game. And then I'm just also working on a whole host of 80s style pulp miniatures that will be set in the Bot War universe, but just there'll be some recognizable nostalgia value there for those, which I think people will really enjoy. And it will really, with the 30mm core rules system, it will really encourage people to start playing their own narrative games around these pulp type characters and stories, which is really, really exciting. And there'll be there's already a huge range for ROTD, Rise of Democracy, of great miniatures, and then when the Beat 'em Up miniatures get in, and then the 80s pulp miniatures, and there'll be a massive host of everything from sci-fi, all with an 80s style Traders Galaxy flair to it. So there'll be plenty of games for people to really enjoy, and it'll be really easy to port across from different themes. Even though the core rules are the same, the actual expansions between Beat 'em Up and Rise of Democracy are totally different. So you're gonna, oh, by the way, Beat 'em Up is an actual cooperative game, so you'll have essentially a games master that will control all the bad guys and play as the bad guys. And then you'll have up to four players that will control each of the heroes. And they've got to, basically those four people will have to use teamwork to get through against the big baddie playing the bad guys. So it's loads of fun. It's going to be really great. So that's pretty much all for this video. I will get this out and see how it goes. Please leave any comments below about what you would like to see in the future in these chats. And please like and subscribe if you want to keep on top of what's happening in this channel. I am trying to grow this channel. It is probably the hardest of the social medias to understand and work out for me. So yeah, I appreciate your like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys soon.